Ryan had never imagined that his life would change so suddenly. One moment he was an ordinary human working on Earth as a security officer, and the next he was being assigned as the guardian of two alien princesses from a distant planet called Celera. The message had come directly from the United Space Council, and it carried a tone of urgency he could not ignore. The council had explained that the twins, Princess Myra and Princess Sella, were under constant threat from factions that wanted to control Celera's power. Ryan's job was simple in words but complex in reality: protect them at all costs. He stepped onto the Celera station, and the first thing that struck him was the light. The entire station floated in the orbit of a bright blue gas giant, and beams of sunlight reflected off the metal walls, creating patterns that looked like moving stars. The station itself was enormous, with gardens suspended in the air, bridges that curved gracefully between towers, and glowing panels that pulsed softly underfoot. Ryan felt small in comparison, but a strange thrill ran through him. This was unlike anything he had ever seen. A soft chime echoed, and a holographic figure appeared before him. It was a Celera aide, tall and slender, with skin that shimmered like liquid silver. "Welcome, Ryan," the figure said in perfect common. "The princesses are expecting you. Please follow me." Ryan followed the aide through corridors lined with glowing vines. The air smelled faintly sweet, and he realized that the plants were not just decorative, they seemed to clean the air as he walked. It was peaceful, almost calming, but he reminded himself of why he was here. He was not a tourist. He was a guardian. At last, he entered the royal chamber. The room was large and circular, with a ceiling that seemed to reach the sky. In the center were two young women. Myra stood with her hands folded, calm and composed. Sella leaned against a crystal pillar, her expression curious, almost playful. Both had hair that shimmered like silver threads and eyes that glowed faintly with their alien heritage. "Welcome, Ryan," Myra said first. Her voice was soft, yet carried authority. "We have been told you will be our guardian." "Yes, Princess," Ryan replied, bowing slightly. "I am honored to be here, and I will do my best to protect you." Sella smiled faintly. "I hope you can keep up," she said teasingly. "Celera can be dangerous, even for someone used to adventure." Ryan chuckled nervously. "I am ready to learn." The aide left them alone, and a quiet settled over the room. Ryan realized that this was the first moment he could observe them without interruptions. Myra's gaze was steady, analytical. Sella's eyes sparkled with curiosity and mischief. He wondered how two individuals so different could share such a close bond. Their first lesson together came almost immediately. A soft alarm sounded in the distance, and Ryan instinctively reached for his communicator. Myra's eyes glowed faintly as she spoke. "Do not worry. It is likely a training simulation. Follow my lead." The three of them moved through the corridors quickly. Ryan noticed that Myra seemed to sense danger before it appeared. Sella, on the other hand, seemed to communicate with the station itself. Panels lit up as she passed, doors opened, and small drones hovered out of her way. Ryan realized that protecting these twins would not only require strength but understanding of their unique abilities. The simulation ended, and the princesses turned to him with small smiles. "You handled yourself well," Myra said. "Not all humans react so quickly." Sella added, "And you stayed calm when the alarms went off. That is important. Calmness can save lives." Ryan nodded, feeling a mix of relief and pride. For the first time, he felt that maybe he could fulfill this duty. Over the next hours, he toured the station with the twins. They showed him the floating gardens where alien plants grew, some that glowed in the dark, some that produced fruits unlike anything he had ever tasted. They visited the observation deck, where Ryan could see the blue gas giant spinning slowly beneath them. He realized that Cellera was not just advanced in technology but also in harmony with nature. "You will see danger here," Myra said quietly as they watched the gas giant from above. "And it will not always be clear. Sometimes, it comes in forms you do not expect." Ryan nodded, understanding the weight of her words. He had trained for emergencies on Earth, but Cellera's threats were unfamiliar, and their consequences could be much greater. That night, Ryan slept in quarters assigned to him near the princesses. He could hear the faint hum of the station, almost like a heartbeat. Despite the beauty of the station and the wonder around him, he could not shake the feeling that danger was near. Yet, as he drifted to sleep, he felt a strange sense of purpose. Protecting Myra and Sella was not just a duty. It was something that mattered deeply. Morning came, and with it, the start of a new challenge. Ryan awoke to find Myra and Sella waiting for him. "Breakfast is ready," Sella said with a grin. "And yes, you will try something new." Ryan followed them to a dining hall filled with foods that smelled unfamiliar but inviting. As he took a bite of a soft, glowing fruit, he realized that life on Cellera was full of surprises, and he would have to adapt quickly if he wanted to survive and protect the princesses. "Do not worry if you do not understand everything immediately," Myra said gently. "We will teach you. You have courage, and that is rare among humans. That is why you are here." Ryan smiled, feeling a sense of belonging he had never known. The princesses were not just charges to protect. They were individuals who trusted him to be by their side, to learn together, and perhaps, to face dangers that would shape all of their lives. As they finished breakfast, the station's alarms rang softly again. Ryan straightened. This was not the end of his challenges. It was only the beginning. And as he walked with Myra and Sella through the glowing corridors, he felt ready for whatever lay ahead. Cellera Station was beautiful, but it was also alive. And Ryan knew that in the days to come, he would have to match its energy, its intelligence, and its danger if he wanted to truly protect the twin princesses entrusted to him. Ryan woke early, the soft hum of Cellera Station filling the room. Today would be different. He had realized that protecting Myra and Sella was not only about strength but understanding their world, their culture, and their unique abilities. The twins had already shown hints of powers he could not fully grasp. Myra could sense possibilities before they happened, and Sella could communicate with the life forms around her. Today, they would teach him how to work with them. He entered the training chamber, a large room with walls of shifting colors. The floor had a smooth, rubbery texture, and glowing panels lit the edges. Myra was standing in the center, her eyes closed, as if she were reading the future. Sella floated near a corner, her hands raised slightly as if talking to invisible creatures. "Good morning, Ryan," Myra said, opening her eyes. "Today you will learn to anticipate movements. You must think ahead to protect us." Ryan nodded, trying to focus. "I am ready," he said, though a small part of him felt nervous. Myra motioned to the holographic panels around them. Figures appeared, moving fast and unpredictably. "These are practice attackers," she explained. "You must predict their next move and respond." Ryan studied the figures. He had trained with simulations on Earth, but this was different. These holograms moved in ways that defied human reflexes. He focused on his instincts, watching patterns, noticing tiny changes in speed and posture. The first few attempts failed, and he stumbled several times. Sela floated over, her eyes sparkling. "You must listen to more than your eyes," she said. "Feel the environment. Notice small shifts." Ryan frowned, unsure what she meant. Suddenly, a panel lit up near his foot. He realized that the floor was sending subtle vibrations when the holograms approached. He adjusted his stance, moving before the hologram reached him, and managed to block it perfectly. Myra's eyes glowed faintly. "Good. You are learning quickly." Sela smiled. "You are human, but your mind is sharp. You will adapt." Hours passed in the chamber. Ryan learned to anticipate movements, read subtle signals from the environment, and even predict where the holograms would attack next. Myra guided his strategy while Sela helped him sense patterns in the room. By midday, he was moving confidently, reacting faster than he thought possible. After training, they walked through the floating gardens. Ryan marveled at the glowing plants, some with petals that changed colors, some with vines that shifted slowly like snakes. Birds with translucent wings flitted around, and small creatures peeked from behind the plants. Sela knelt near a glowing bush. "Do you see them?" she asked, pointing. Tiny creatures, no bigger than Ryan's hand, were hiding among the leaves. "They communicate with me. I can understand their intentions." Ryan crouched beside her, amazed. "They talk to you?" Sela nodded. "Not with words. With feelings. You can learn to if you focus." Ryan closed his eyes and tried. At first, he felt nothing. Then, a tiny pulse of emotion reached him. It was cautious, curious, and slightly playful. He smiled. "I think I felt it." Sela grinned. "Good. You have a spark of connection. You will learn more with time." Myra joined them, her expression calm. "These abilities are part of our heritage. You may not have them, but you can work with us. Trust and understanding are more important than power." Ryan nodded, realizing how much he still had to learn. Protecting them was not just about weapons or strength. It was about observing, understanding, and reacting with insight. Later, they visited the observation deck. The blue gas giant beneath the station reflected sunlight, casting patterns across the room. Myra's eyes glowed faintly as she touched Ryan's shoulder. "Focus," she said. "Sometimes danger is hidden. You must see it before it appears." Ryan squinted, trying to sense what she meant. Suddenly, a shadow moved on the edge of the deck, unnoticed by most sensors. Ryan's instincts kicked in. He reached for the emergency alert, but Myra held up a hand. The shadow was harmless, a small transport drone passing by. "You saw it," Myra said. "That is progress. Humans often miss subtle changes. You are beginning to notice." Sela floated close, her voice soft. "You have courage, Ryan. You listen and act. That is why you were chosen." Ryan felt a surge of pride. The princesses were not just training him, they were teaching him trust, patience, and perception. He realized that his role as guardian was more than protection, it was partnership. As the day ended, they returned to the royal chambers. Myra and Sela shared stories of their childhood on Selera, of secret gardens, floating libraries, and quiet nights under twin moons. Ryan listened intently, fascinated by their world and the bond they shared. "You have a good heart, Ryan," Myra said quietly. "That is rare. Many humans come to Selera, but few understand the weight of responsibility." Sela added, and you are brave. You do not run from what you do not understand. That is why you are here. Ryan smiled. I am grateful to be here. I want to protect you, and I want to learn from you. The night fell over the station, stars twinkling above through the transparent dome. Ryan looked at Myra and Sela, realizing that his duty was not only to protect their lives but also to understand their world, their abilities, and their hearts. Before sleep, he checked his equipment and reviewed the training lessons. Tomorrow would bring more challenges, but he felt ready. For the first time, he understood that the bond between guardian and princesses was not built on rules or orders. It was built on trust, understanding, and courage. As he closed his eyes, the soft hum of Celera's station filled the room once more. He was no longer just a human far from home. He was a guardian, a student of the twins' world, and someone who would face whatever challenges came with bravery and heart. Tomorrow, he would learn more. Tomorrow, he would grow stronger. And tomorrow, he would take another step toward becoming more than a guardian. Ryan had begun to feel more comfortable on Celera's station. He understood the twins' abilities better and could anticipate certain dangers. Yet, he knew that training exercises were nothing compared to real threats. He had a growing sense that someone, or something, was watching. The day began quietly. Myra and Sela were reviewing reports from the station's intelligence network while Ryan prepared his equipment. His human instincts made him check every corner, every corridor. He had learned that Celera's station, though beautiful, could hide dangers in plain sight. Myra, Sela, Ryan said as he entered their room, have there been any unusual alerts overnight? Myra shook her head, her silver hair catching the soft light. Nothing alarming, but there are anomalies. Some transmissions were intercepted. We do not know the source yet. Sela frowned. I felt it too. A presence. Not close, but it is there. Someone or something is testing us. Ryan felt a chill. He had trained for emergencies on Earth, but this felt different. Then we need to prepare, he said firmly. If anyone tries to harm you, we will stop them. The princesses nodded. Myra's expression was serious. We will help you, Ryan. You need to understand that protection is more than guarding. It is planning, predicting, and sometimes risking yourself. They spent the morning exploring a less used section of the station. This area was filled with ancient technology from Celera's early years of space travel. Holographic panels flickered faintly, and small drones patrolled quietly. The twins moved gracefully, Sela communicating with the station's life forms and Myra sensing patterns in the corridors. Ryan followed closely, trying to keep up while also scanning for threats. Suddenly, Sela stopped and raised her hand. There, she whispered. A small drone moved oddly, different from the others. Its sensors glowed red, a warning signal that Ryan had not seen before. Myra's eyes narrowed. It is an intruder device. Someone is probing the station. Ryan, stay alert. Ryan immediately raised his hand to alert security, but Sela shook her head. Not yet. Let us see what it does. The drone hovered closer, scanning the environment. Ryan noticed its movements were deliberate, almost as if it were mapping them. He realized that this was not a random intrusion. Someone wanted to understand the twins' routines, their powers, and their movements. We need to find the source, Ryan said, keeping his voice low. If this is a prelude to an attack, we cannot wait. Myra nodded. Follow me. They moved through hidden passages known only to the twins. The corridors were narrow and twisting, with walls that shifted color to blend with the station's light. Ryan felt the hum of the station vibrating through his feet. It was alive, but it also held secrets that only the twins could read. Finally, they reached a control room hidden behind a false wall. Myra tapped a sequence on the panel, and it slid open to reveal a small room filled with screens showing sections of the station. On one screen, a figure was moving quietly, almost invisible to sensors. Ryan stared. "Who is that?" Sela leaned forward. "A spy. They have entered the station using stealth technology. They want information about us." Myra's expression was calm but serious. "This is more than curiosity. They are planning something. We must act carefully. Ryan, you will stay with me. Sela will guide our movements." Ryan felt his heart race. This was his first real test. He had trained with simulations, but now, the danger was real, and it was inside the station. He followed Myra and Sela through secret corridors, staying low and moving silently. The spy's movements were calculated, almost robotic. Ryan realized that the intruder was gathering intelligence, possibly to launch a bigger attack. He whispered to Myra, "Can we stop them without being seen?" Myra nodded. "We can. Trust the station and your instincts." They waited near a junction where the spy would pass. Ryan held his breath as the figure approached. He could see the faint outline of its suit, the way it scanned the walls. Sela touched his arm lightly. "Now," she whispered. Ryan moved forward, quickly disabling the drone with a small device given by the twins. The spy paused, scanning the area, but could not locate them. Myra and Sela worked in sync, redirecting the spy's sensors, making it believe the corridor was empty. Finally, the intruder moved away, retreating into another section of the station. Ryan exhaled, feeling a rush of relief and pride. "We stopped it," he said quietly. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "For now. But this is only the beginning. They will return, stronger and smarter. You must be ready." Sela smiled faintly. "And you will be. You learned quickly today. That is why you are here. You are more than a human guardian. You are our partner." Ryan felt a warmth in his chest. It was not just about duty anymore. He cared for these twins, and they trusted him to face dangers they could not always see. He understood now that protection meant more than physical defense. It meant strategy, understanding, and teamwork. After the incident, they returned to the training chamber. Myra instructed Ryan on how to anticipate stealth technology, while Sela taught him how to sense subtle signals from the station itself. Ryan was amazed at how much he could learn in a single day. He realized that the twins' powers were not only extraordinary but also practical. Working with them, he felt his own instincts sharpening in ways he had never imagined. That evening, they walked along the observation deck. The blue gas giant below reflected the station's lights, creating a calm, peaceful scene. Ryan watched Myra and Sela, realizing that the danger they faced would require him to remain vigilant at all times. Yet, despite the threats, he felt a growing bond with the twins. "You are learning quickly," Myra said quietly. "But remember, the real world is unpredictable. Plans can change, and threats can appear without warning." Sela added, "Do not let fear control you. Trust your instincts, and trust us. Together, we can handle anything." Ryan nodded, feeling a sense of determination he had never known before. He was no longer just a human far from home. He was a guardian, a student of Celera's ways, and someone who would face danger to protect the princesses entrusted to him. As he prepared for sleep, Ryan reflected on the day. The hidden threat had shown him that Celera's station was not only beautiful but also dangerous. He knew the intruder would return, and he would need to be ready. Yet, for the first time, he felt confident. He was learning, adapting, and growing stronger. Tomorrow, he would face new challenges. He would continue training with the twins, learning more about their abilities, and preparing for dangers that might be closer than he thought. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of peace. He had faced his first real threat and survived. And with Myra and Sela by his side, he knew he could face whatever lay ahead. Celera's station was alive, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous. But Ryan had begun to understand it, and more importantly, he had begun to understand the bond that would allow him to protect the twin princesses no matter what. The morning on Celera's station started quietly, with soft sunlight reflecting off the floating gardens. Ryan had been preparing for this day since the intruder incident. He checked his equipment carefully, ensuring every tool, sensor, and communicator was ready. He knew that danger could appear at any moment, and today, he would need to rely on everything he had learned from Myra and Sela. The twins were already waiting for him. Myra stood near the observation deck, her silver hair shimmering in the morning light, eyes scanning the horizon. Sela floated nearby, her expression alert, fingers twitching slightly as if she were in constant communication with the station itself. "Good morning, Ryan," Myra said calmly. "We have detected unusual activity near the outer docking bay. It is possible they are preparing another attempt." Ryan felt his heart race. "Then we need to act quickly. Should we alert security?" Myra shook her head. "Not yet. We must first observe and prepare. Panic will not help. Strategy will." Sela nodded. "We work together, Ryan. You have learned much, but now you will see what it is like to face real danger." The three of them moved quietly through the station, taking hidden passages and narrow corridors to avoid detection. Ryan's senses were heightened. He could feel the tension in the air, the faint vibrations of movement from outside the walls. Myra led the way, predicting the intruder's path, while Sela used her connection to the station's life forms to detect anomalies. As they approached the outer docking bay, the situation became clear. A fleet of small stealth ships hovered near the station, their surfaces blending with the gas giant below. Ryan could see faint energy pulses indicating shields and weapons. He swallowed hard. This was far beyond training exercises. This was real. Myra whispered, "They expect us to be unprepared. That is their mistake." Ryan glanced at her. "What should we do?" Sela floated beside him, her eyes glowing. "We fight smart. You focus on strategy and timing. Myra will guide your moves, and I will assist with the station's environment." The intruders made the first move. Small drones detached from the ships and flew toward the station, scanning for entry points. Ryan reacted quickly, using a pulse device he had learned to operate. The device emitted a wave that disrupted the drone's sensors, causing several to crash harmlessly into the docking bay floor. Myra directed Ryan toward a concealed corridor. "They will try another path. Anticipate and block them." Ryan moved, positioning himself near a doorway while Sela hovered above, keeping a watch on the drones. When the next wave arrived, he activated energy barriers on the floor. The drones collided and fell, sparking but harmless. The intruders were persistent. They sent more drones and a small strike team equipped with stealth suits. Ryan's mind raced. He remembered Myra's teachings about prediction and strategy, and he focused on the patterns he had observed. "Ryan, left flank," Myra instructed, her eyes glowing faintly. "They will move toward the central chamber. Anticipate their path." Ryan followed her guidance, placing barriers and activating sensors that alerted the station's automated defenses. The intruders were slowed, and the twins' abilities made them even more effective. Myra predicted their next movements, while Cello manipulated small environmental controls, causing lights to flicker and floor panels to shift, confusing the attackers. Despite their efforts, one intruder reached the main corridor. Ryan reacted instinctively, using a restraint device to stop the attacker without harm. The intruder struggled but could not escape. Myra approached calmly. "Do not harm them unnecessarily. We need information." Sella scanned the intruder telepathically, learning that the attack was coordinated by a rival faction seeking control over Cellera. They wanted the princesses to surrender their authority, and they were willing to use any means to achieve it. Ryan felt the weight of the situation. This was not just a test of skill but a test of courage and leadership. He realized that protecting Myra and Cello meant thinking ahead, reacting swiftly, and trusting their guidance completely. The final wave of drones descended, larger and faster than before. Ryan and the twins worked seamlessly. He activated barriers, Cello manipulated environmental controls, and Myra predicted movements with uncanny accuracy. One by one, the drones were disabled or redirected safely away from the station. Finally, the intruders retreated. Their fleet disappeared into the shadow of the gas giant, leaving the station calm once more. Ryan exhaled deeply, relief washing over him. They had survived the first real attack. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. "You acted well, Ryan. Your instincts, combined with training, allowed us to succeed." Sella smiled. "You are learning quickly. Today, you saw what it means to protect. It is more than strength. It is foresight, courage, and trust." Ryan nodded. "I could not have done it without you. You taught me to see, to anticipate, to act." The station's automated systems completed the final security checks. All areas were clear. The princesses and Ryan returned to the royal chambers, where they reviewed the attack. They discussed strategies, potential weaknesses, and improvements for future defense. Ryan felt a sense of pride. He had faced danger and survived, but he also understood that the intruders would return. That evening, they walked through the observation deck. The gas giant below reflected the setting light, creating a calm, peaceful scene. Ryan looked at Myra and Sella, realizing that danger was only one part of their lives. They were intelligent, brave, and compassionate. Protecting them was not a burden, it was an honor. "You performed well," Myra said quietly. "But remember, the enemy learns from their failures. We must be ready for their next attempt." Sella added, "And we will face it together. You are not alone, Ryan. Trust in your abilities and in ours." Ryan smiled, feeling a warmth he had not expected. The bond between him and the princesses had grown stronger. They trusted him, and he trusted them. Together, they could face any threat, no matter how dangerous. Before sleep, Ryan reviewed the events of the day. He had seen real danger, and he had reacted without hesitation. He had learned the value of teamwork, strategy, and trust. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges, but he felt ready. He was more than a guardian now. He was a partner, a protector, and someone who had proven himself in the face of danger. As he closed his eyes, the hum of Celeris Station filled the room. He was no longer just a human far from home. He was part of a team, part of something greater than himself. And with Myra and Sela by his side, he knew he could face anything the universe sent their way. The first attack was over, but Ryan understood it was only the beginning. Celeris Station was alive, mysterious, and sometimes dangerous. Yet he had discovered courage within himself he never knew existed. He would continue to grow, learn, and protect the princesses, ready for whatever challenges lay ahead. The day began with soft sunlight streaming through the large windows of Celeris Station. Ryan woke feeling alert and determined. The first attack had tested his skills, and he knew that protecting Myra and Sela required more than just physical defense. Today, he wanted to learn more about them, not only as princesses but as individuals. He found Myra in the library, a quiet place filled with floating shelves and glowing books. Her eyes were focused on a hollow map, studying patterns of energy across Celeris Station. Sela hovered near a window, smiling at a group of tiny flying creatures that danced in the sunlight. "Good morning, Ryan," Myra said without looking up. "We have much to do today. Security drills, strategy lessons, and some training exercises." Ryan nodded. "I am ready. But may I ask something first?" Myra raised an eyebrow. "Of course. I want to understand you both better," Ryan said carefully. "Not just your abilities, but who you are. It will help me protect you more effectively." Sela laughed softly. "You are curious, and that is good. Many guardians focus only on strategy, not people. Come, I will show you." They started by walking through the station's gardens. The plants glowed softly, and small animals peeked from behind the leaves. Sela pointed to a flower with shifting colors. "This is called the Luma bloom. It responds to emotions. When you are calm, it glows green. Excited, it glows blue. When fearful, red." Ryan reached out carefully. The flower pulsed softly as he touched it. He felt a strange connection to the plant, a gentle warmth. "It feels alive," he said. "Everything here is alive," Sela explained. "Celeris Station is not just metal and energy. It responds, adapts, and communicates. You will learn to notice it in time." Myra observed Ryan quietly. "Understanding the station is part of understanding us. We are connected to it in ways most humans cannot grasp." As they walked, Sela shared stories from her childhood. She spoke of hidden gardens, secret passages, and nights when the moons reflected silver light across the station's domes. Ryan listened, fascinated by her playful and adventurous spirit. Myra, more serious, spoke of her lessons in strategy, diplomacy, and leadership. Ryan realized how complementary the twins were. Myra cautious and thoughtful, Sela curious and free-spirited. "You learn quickly, Ryan," Myra said after a pause. "But protecting us requires more than skill. It requires trust." Ryan nodded. "I trust you both. And I hope you can trust me." Sela smiled warmly. "We do. But you must continue to show it with your actions, not only words." Their next stop was the observation deck, where diplomats from Celero were expected to arrive. Ryan had been briefed on etiquette, but he knew that his human ways would feel strange to alien visitors. Myra and Sela guided him through the formalities, explaining customs, gestures, and phrases that showed respect without offense. When the diplomats arrived, Ryan observed carefully. One delegation, from a neighboring planet, seemed suspicious of the twins' human guardian. Ryan noticed subtle signals from Myra and Sela, slight nods and hand gestures, guiding him to respond appropriately. He remained calm, smiling, speaking with courtesy, and subtly redirecting tense moments. The diplomats were impressed. Myra's eyes glowed faintly with pride. "You handled that well. Many humans would have faltered." Sela floated beside Ryan, whispering, "You are beginning to understand how to act with confidence and care. That is important. People trust those who remain calm under pressure." After the meeting, Ryan walked with the twins through a quiet corridor. "I see how much you both care for Celera and its people," he said. "It makes me feel more responsible to protect you." Myra nodded. "Protection is not just for our safety. It is for the people who depend on us. You understand this, and that is why you are valuable to us." Sela laughed softly. "And you are not just serious all the time. You can joke and smile, and that is rare among humans. It makes us feel comfortable with you." Ryan smiled, feeling a warmth in his chest. He realized that the bond between him and the twins was growing stronger. It was no longer only about duty. It was about respect, understanding, and genuine care. Later, the three practiced training exercises. Ryan improved his timing and reflexes, Myra guided his movements with calm precision, and Sela challenged him with unpredictable scenarios. They laughed when he made mistakes and celebrated small victories when he succeeded. The exercises were not just practice, they were lessons in teamwork, communication, and trust. As the day ended, they returned to the observation deck. The twin moons of Celera rose above the horizon, casting soft silver light across the station. Ryan watched the moons and felt a sense of wonder. "You have grown," Myra said quietly. "Not only in skill but in understanding. That is why we trust you more each day." Sela floated close to him. "And you have shown courage, patience, and kindness. These are qualities more important than any weapon or ability." Ryan felt his heart swell with pride. "Thank you, both. I will continue to do my best. Not just to protect you, but to learn from you." They stood together, watching the moons. The quiet of the night contrasted with the dangers they had faced and the challenges still ahead. Yet in that moment, Ryan felt a deep connection. The twins were not only his charge, they were his friends, his partners, and something more he could not yet define. Before sleep, Ryan reflected on the day. He had learned more about Celera, the station, and the twins than he could have imagined. He understood that protecting them was more than guarding against threats. It was about empathy, understanding, and forming bonds that could withstand any challenge. Celera Station was alive, filled with wonder, danger, and lessons waiting to be discovered. Ryan felt ready to face the next day, the next challenge, and whatever threats might come. But tonight, he allowed himself a moment of peace. He had grown closer to Myra and Sela, and he knew that the bond between them was becoming unbreakable. Tomorrow, he would continue training, continue learning, and continue growing. And as he drifted to sleep, the twin moons shone softly above, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, connection, trust, and courage could create light in the darkest places. Ryan had thought that training exercises and the first attack were enough to prepare him for life on Celera Station. But nothing had truly prepared him for what came next. One quiet morning, while he and the twins were reviewing the station's security reports, an urgent alert flashed across the holographic screens. Myra's eyes narrowed as she studied the data. "This is not a simple reconnaissance. Someone is planning a full-scale strike on the station. They have developed a weapon that can penetrate our shields. Sella's expression darkened. I can sense its energy. It is strong, dangerous, and precise. If it reaches us, we cannot defend the station alone. Ryan's heart pounded. What can we do? How can we stop it? Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. We must leave the station. The weapon is located on a small asteroid outside our sector. We will deactivate it before it can reach Cellera's station. This is dangerous, Ryan. You must be ready. Ryan nodded. He had trained for emergencies, but this was different. He was leaving the safety of the station to face unknown dangers in deep space. Yet, he felt a surge of determination. Protecting Myra and Sella was more than duty, it was a responsibility he could not refuse. The trio prepared for departure. Sella coordinated the ship's systems, connecting with small robotic assistants to monitor energy readings. Myra calculated the safest route, predicting possible enemy patrols along the way. Ryan checked their equipment, weapons, and communication devices, ensuring everything was ready. As they left the station, the vastness of space stretched before them. The asteroid loomed in the distance, a dark, jagged mass floating among smaller rocks. The energy readings from the weapon were faint but detectable, a warning that danger awaited. When they approached the asteroid, Myra guided the ship through narrow crevices and tunnels. The weapon is inside, she said. We must move carefully. Traps and defenses will protect it. Ryan followed closely, holding his restraint devices and sensors. He felt the hum of the station within him, a reminder of the lessons he had learned about anticipation and awareness. They entered a large chamber inside the asteroid. Energy pulses lit the walls, revealing the weapon, a sleek, metallic device with glowing cores and rotating components. It radiated power, a constant reminder of the threat it posed. Sella floated closer, her hands raised. I can manipulate some of the energy fields. Ryan, Myra, follow my instructions carefully. Ryan watched as she used her connection with the asteroid's environment to redirect energy flows, creating openings in the defenses. Myra guided him through sequences of switches and panels, predicting the weapon's automated responses. Ryan followed their instructions precisely, using his human problem-solving skills to override systems that required logical thinking and pattern recognition. Suddenly, the weapon activated partially, sending a pulse that knocked Ryan off balance. Myra caught him instantly. Stay calm, she instructed. Fear will slow you. Focus on the patterns, not the energy. Ryan steadied himself, noticing a rhythm in the weapon's pulses. He adjusted his movements, timing his actions to avoid interference. Sella smiled faintly. You are learning quickly. That is why you are here. Trust yourself. Together, the trio navigated the defenses, disabling automated turrets and redirecting energy flows. The weapon resisted, but they persisted. Myra's predictive guidance, Sella's connection with the environment, and Ryan's human intuition worked in harmony. Each obstacle was met with careful planning and precise action. Finally, they reached the core of the weapon. It rotated slowly, humming with energy. Ryan studied the panels and levers, realizing that the device required simultaneous input from multiple operators. We need to act together, he said. On my mark. Myra and Sella nodded. They synchronized their movements, following Ryan's lead while he manipulated the controls. Pulses of energy coursed through the device, then stabilized. The weapon powered down, its cores dimming to a safe glow. Ryan exhaled deeply, relief flooding through him. We did it, he said, smiling at the twins. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. Yes, but remember, this is only one threat. Others may come. You must remain vigilant, Ryan. Sela floated close to him, her eyes bright. And you have proven yourself. You are more than a guardian. You are part of us, part of this team. Your courage and skill have saved us today. Ryan felt a warmth he had never expected. The bond between him and the twins had grown stronger, built on trust, teamwork, and shared danger. He realized that protecting them was no longer just a duty. It was a partnership, and he was proud to be part of it. As they returned to Selera Station, the stars stretched endlessly around them. Ryan felt a sense of calm and accomplishment, knowing that they had neutralized a major threat. Yet, he also knew that their journey was far from over. The galaxy was full of dangers, and the twins' position made them targets. Back at the station, the council met them with concern and admiration. Myra and Sela explained their mission, and the council recognized Ryan's bravery and contribution. You acted with skill, intelligence, and courage, a council member said. Your actions have saved not only the princesses but the station itself. Ryan bowed slightly. I only did my duty, he replied humbly. Myra and Sela smiled at him. You did more than that, Sela said. You proved that humans can be trusted, that courage is not limited to any species. You have our respect and our gratitude. That night, Ryan walked through the observation deck alone for a moment. The twin moons of Selera shone softly, reflecting off the station's glass domes. He thought about the challenges they had faced and the trust he had earned from Myra and Sela. He realized that he was no longer just a human far from home. He was a guardian, a partner, and someone who had proven himself in the face of true danger. The twins joined him, their presence quiet but comforting. Myra placed a hand on his shoulder. You have done well today, Ryan. But the galaxy is vast. More challenges will come. Remember what you learned. Sela floated beside him, smiling. And remember that we are together. Trust, courage, and teamwork will see us through anything. Ryan nodded, feeling a sense of determination. He had faced the true threat, learned from it, and grown stronger. Tomorrow would bring new challenges, but he felt ready. He had the twins by his side, and together, they could face whatever the universe sent their way. As the night fell over Selera Station, Ryan allowed himself a moment of quiet reflection. He had learned the importance of trust, the power of teamwork, and the courage required to protect those who depended on him. He had grown closer to Myra and Sela, not just as a guardian but as someone who shared their victories, their fears, and their hopes. The weapon had been neutralized, the station was safe, and the bond between human and twins had strengthened. But Ryan knew that peace was only temporary. The galaxy held many dangers, and he would need all the skills, courage, and trust he had learned to protect the princesses in the days ahead. With that thought, he watched the twin moons shine softly above, a reminder that even in the vastness of space, courage, trust, and partnership could create light in the darkest places. The calm after the asteroid mission lasted only a day. Ryan knew the galaxy was unpredictable, and the twins' enemies could strike again. Yet, that morning on Selera Station felt peaceful. Sunlight reflected off the floating gardens, and tiny creatures fluttered among the glowing plants. Ryan walked with Myra and Sela, enjoying a quiet moment before the day's training and council meetings. You have grown stronger with each challenge, Myra said, her voice calm and proud. But today, you will face your greatest test. Not against weapons or intruders, but in the choices you make to protect us. Ryan glanced at her. I understand. I will do whatever is needed. Sela smiled softly. It is not just about duty. It is about trust, courage, and heart. Today will show if you are ready in every way. The station's alarm suddenly echoed. Red lights flashed as automated sensors detected multiple incoming vessels, faster and more coordinated than before. Myra's eyes glowed faintly as she analyzed the data. This is not a simple attack. They want the princesses directly. We must act quickly. Ryan's pulse quickened. He had faced danger before, but the stakes felt higher now. Protecting the twins was no longer about strategy alone. It was about ensuring their lives, and perhaps even their future. They moved swiftly to the control deck. Sela directed the ship's automated defenses while Myra calculated evasive maneuvers. Ryan monitored the corridors and security systems, anticipating enemy entry points. Together, they prepared to face the ultimate threat. The first wave of intruders boarded the station. They were heavily armored and highly skilled, moving with precise coordination. Ryan activated energy barriers to slow their advance while Myra guided him through alternative pathways to protect the princesses. Sela used her connection to the station's life forms to disrupt the intruders' sensors and create distractions. Despite their preparation, one intruder reached a corridor leading directly to the royal chambers. Ryan moved instantly, placing a barrier and confronting the enemy. He used a restraint device to hold the intruder without causing harm, following the twins' lessons of strategy and careful judgment. Myra arrived beside him. Well done. You acted with courage and intelligence. But we must move. The threat is larger than a single corridor. They regrouped at the observation deck, where the twin moons shone softly. Myra and Sela created a plan to evacuate the station if necessary, but Ryan realized that retreat was not an option. He had to protect them here, at the heart of their home. The intruders advanced, coordinating attacks on multiple fronts. Ryan, Myra, and Sela worked seamlessly. Myra predicted movements and provided guidance, Sela manipulated environmental systems, and Ryan reacted with precision, defending and redirecting threats. Each wave tested their skills, pushing them to their limits. In the heat of the battle, Ryan noticed something unusual. A vessel above the station was attempting to fire a destructive beam. If it succeeded, Selara's station could be destroyed. Without hesitation, he communicated with Sela. We need to redirect their energy before it hits. Sela's eyes glowed as she manipulated the station's systems remotely. I can create a temporary field, but it will take precise timing. You must act when I signal. Ryan nodded, ready. Myra calculated the trajectory of the beam and provided exact instructions. With perfect coordination, Ryan triggered the energy field just as the beam arrived. The blast was absorbed safely, leaving the station unharmed. The intruders, realizing their plan had failed, retreated. Ryan, Myra, and Sela stood together, breathing heavily but victorious. The danger had passed, at least for now. Myra turned to Ryan, her eyes glowing faintly with pride. You have faced your greatest test. You acted with courage, intelligence, and heart. You are no longer only a guardian. You are a trusted partner. Sela floated close, smiling warmly. And you have earned something more. You have proven yourself in ways few could. You are part of our world, Ryan, and we are grateful for your bravery. Ryan felt a warmth he could not describe. He realized that the bond he shared with the twins was more than duty. It was trust, friendship, and something deeper. Protecting them was not only a responsibility, it was an honor and a privilege. Myra placed a hand gently on his shoulder. We have a tradition on Celera. Guardians who prove themselves in the protection of the royal family are invited to join the bond formally. It is more than a title. It is a recognition of loyalty, courage, and unity. Ryan's eyes widened. I don't know what to say. Sela smiled softly. No words are needed. You have shown through action. And now, you will share a bond that is both sacred and enduring. Ryan felt a deep sense of belonging. He had come to Celera as an outsider, a human far from home. Yet through courage, trust, and teamwork, he had become more than that. He was part of the twins' lives, their world, and their family in a way he had never imagined. Later that evening, they stood together on the observation deck, watching the twin moons rise. The station was calm, the threat had passed, and a sense of peace settled over them. You have grown beyond what we expected, Myra said softly. Your bravery, understanding, and compassion have earned you a place in our lives that goes beyond duty. Sela added, and you have shown that humans are capable of loyalty and courage equal to any being in the galaxy. We trust you completely. Ryan smiled, feeling a mixture of pride and humility. I am honored. I will continue to protect you, not just as a guardian, but as someone who truly cares. The twins smiled, and for the first time, Ryan felt the weight of responsibility lift slightly. It had been a long journey, filled with training, danger, and challenges. But through it all, he had learned the value of trust, courage, and partnership. That night, Ryan lay in his quarters, reflecting on the past weeks. He had arrived on Celera Station as a human far from home, uncertain of his place. He had trained, learned, and faced dangers that tested every skill he possessed. And now, he had grown into someone who belonged, someone trusted, and someone who had proven his worth. The twin moons shone softly above, casting a silver light across the station. Ryan thought of Myra and Sela, of the bond they shared, and of the future that awaited them. He knew challenges would continue, but he also knew that together, they could face anything. Celera Station was alive, beautiful, and sometimes dangerous. Yet Ryan had discovered that courage, trust, and heart could overcome even the greatest threats. He had grown closer to the twins than he had ever imagined possible. He had proven himself as a guardian, a partner, and as someone worthy of their trust. And in that moment, as he looked at Myra and Sela standing beside him, he realized that he had become something more than he had ever dreamed. He was no longer just a human in a strange world. He was a part of Celera, a protector of its princesses, and someone whose bond with them would endure through any challenge the galaxy could send. Ryan, Myra, and Sela watched the stars in quiet companionship. The battles had been won, the threats had been faced, and the future stretched ahead, full of possibility. And together, they knew they could face it all, united by courage, trust, and the unbreakable bond they had forged. The Guardian had become more than a protector. He had become family.